Hello, this is Monsi from Monsi Makes, and I'm here to wish you a happy Hedgehog Day. And yes, it's a real thing, according to Google and the Colorado Craft Company. So these hedgehogs are absolutely adorable and very tiny, and this is the first time I am not giving them clothes. I'm being brave and doing it afraid. If you've seen any of my earlier videos coloring these Anita Jeram illustrations by Colorado Craft Company, you'll see that my USP is giving these creatures clothes and giving them personalities, and I've mostly done it as a cop-out because I didn't really know how to make fur and give texture to an animal's body and all of that, but I figured it's about time that I jump in head first and just give it a whirl and see what happens. After all, it's just paper. So that's what I'm doing here, being brave today and making a scene again. This was such a small image, but it took a while to color, mostly because it was tiny, and tiny images usually take longer. I'm using my favorite supplies here with the Arches cold press paper, my Princeton brush, and I used a size 4, a size 2, a size 0, and then I also used a dotting brush for that tiny little hedgehog baby over there. And I did use my Daniel Smith watercolors again. I'm kind of getting a hang of how to use them and how much vibrancy to introduce and how to mix the colors. Again, I'm just doing the red, yellow, and blue, but I did at some point add a little bit of the quinacridone rose just for some areas in the green and the brown. And it really wasn't that tough, I'll tell you that, because there's not really any fur, and the stamp is designed such that if you just follow the crosshatch lines, you kind of get the hedgehog's hair and the spiny look it has. So that was pretty straightforward, and I had no intention of die cutting this. I just thought I would paint this and then I would just do like a rectangle and then affix it on a card front. But so that's why I spent so much time making the sky and the trees and getting the greens just right and making sure I have the dark areas of the blue just right. It felt like a nice summer scene where they're out on a picnic, and this one's giving the other one a card, and it just felt like that kind of a scene. And then of course I added a hat because I just felt like I was missing the clothes that I used to give these critters, and so I gave her a fancy hat, and I gave the little baby hedgehog a bow in her hair, coordinating with the mama. So it's kind of like a Father's Day card, I guess. It could be, which my husband doesn't like to celebrate, so he might just get a Happy Hedgehog Day card instead this year. But it was just such a cute scene to color. And I didn't use my pens or pencils to create any accents, just the watercolors this time and my thin brushes. This part, the die cutting, scared the hell out of me. I will tell you that I have not spent that much time taping metal die to a watercolor piece as I spent on this one. I actually did a test run where I just cut out regular cardstock with the die to see how well the dies work, and the dies work like they cut through paper like butter. It's not the problem with the die, it's just I was so worried about my painting getting screwed up after I'd spent so long watercoloring it. So I just wanted to make sure. So I taped it so well, and it took me forever to take the tape out, and I was super duper scared doing this. And that's why I made a video, honestly, was to show that I am doing this and I'm doing it afraid, and if things go wrong and I butcher it, I will still have the memory of the video of the painting that I made. And it took multiple tries because I was so nervous. Every time I flipped it over, I was like, oh, this hasn't really cut through all the way. There's going to be some blank spots, which wasn't true, but it was really how nervous I was that made me put it through the machine so many times. And at one point I was like, you know what, I'll just take the tape off and see what's happening. And then again, the nervousness got the better of me, and I was like, you know what, I'll just put it through the die cut machine a couple more times. I have more to lose by not putting it through more times than I need to. So I just wanted this to be real, this part to be real for you, and to let you know that yes, I do get nervous. I'm not, I keep saying It's okay, it's just paper. Yes, but I still do feel nervous and I do feel afraid, and I still do it. That's the main thing. You still do it. Do it afraid, but do it. And if I would have ruined it, if I hadn't taped it up the way, it needed to be aligned, if I did ruin it, what are you going to do about it? It is what it is. But I wanted to see what it would look like, what the scene would look like when it was die cut. So that's what I did. And again, I took forever. I usually just rip the tape off. I also usually don't have that much tape on. But this time I was being super duper careful, and I was really nervous to flip it over and see what had happened. I did notice as I was taking the tape off that a vast majority of the sky was going to go away, which is what I spent a lot of time coloring. But again, when I was coloring the painting, I was enjoying the process and I was really liking creating that scene. So in that moment, I had fun doing that. So no regrets there, just kind of showing you that, it's a process. And if you're curious and you want to see what happens, this is what happens. So the scene then, of course, was not going to be that of the blue sky and, sitting in the park kind of thing. It was going to be something different. And as I was taking the tape out and I'd flipped it over and kind of seen that I've lost most of the sky, I figured, you know what, I'll do the same thing that I did with my earlier, the painting of the dog at the beach. I would just use one of my own photos, and I have a stack of them. I used to do a lot of iPhoneography, which is basically modifying photos on the phone with special effects, and I have a stack of those prints. So I figured I'd just use one of those as a background. And look at how cute these images. They're tiny, but they're so cute. So I just affixed the die cut on the photograph that I had of, these trees. And it just kind of worked out, and then I just made another envelope by myself using some of the pre-printed papers that I collect. I don't know why I do, but I'm finding a use for them by making these envelopes. Stamped one of the hedgehogs on that, and a sentiment from the same stamp set, and then I just used Dura-lar that I use in place of acetate to stamp on the sentiments on this and affix them on the front of the card, and it came together beautifully. So whether you celebrate it or not, I do wish you a happy Hedgehog Day, and I hope that this card and envelope set bring a smile to your face. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and thank you for being here. I will see you next time.